altruistic narcissism, okay? Okay, what do we have here? An altruistic narcissist is someone who excessively helps others without any ulterior motive. Okay, that does sound like me. What else we got? They have a strong need to be needed and appreciated. Okay, 2 for 2. You're 2 for 2. What else? This type of narcissist is often found in helping professions such as healthcare. Okay, this is a little scary. For those of you who don't know, I am a registered nurse. That's what I do. I'm also a narcissist, apparently. Okay, let's keep going. While their intentions may seem pure, altruistic narcissists are actually motivated by a need for validation and appreciation. Okay? They often feel empty and worthless unless they're doing something to help others. This can lead them to becoming codependent on the people they are helping. Okay, wow. Here I was thinking that I was teaching you about codependence, and it turns out we are in a codependent relationship together. Fantastic. Let's just keep reading for some reason. It is very important to know the signs of an altruistic narcissist because they can be very harmful to your mental and emotional health. They are usually very charming and charismatic at first, but their true colors will eventually show. Great. Here I was thinking that my charming, charismatic personality was one of my best features. Turns out it's just a ticking time bomb of abuse coming your way. Well, this has been very eye-opening for me. Join me next week in my new segment, I Didn't Know I Was a Narcissist.
Okay, so I saw this video this morning from INFP Jimmy Knowles. I've emailed him a couple months ago telling him that he's an INFP and that the wig is a dead giveaway, and he was just silent with no response, typical to INFP personalities, keeping them feelings to themselves as FI doms, you know, and just mimicking everyone else, you know, and trying to channel their own feelings through all the little skits where they're mimicking everyone. And so mimicking is a big word that we needed to pay attention to, especially with INFPs and ENFPs. Everybody mimics. We all have mirror neurons. We all engage in mimicry. We all mimic narcissists as narcissist wannabes. We're all trained to do that in a culture that has a majority population of narcissists in the sensor thinker and sensor feeler personalities. You know, but no one mimics better than INFPs and ENFPs. Think of, you know, ENFP empath, Lee Hammock, you know, think of ENFP empath, Emily Morrow, really crunchy mom. Think of ENFP, Robin Williams, you know, think of INFP Anthony Perkins, think of ENFP Tom McDonald. These people are very good at mimicking people, you know. The extroverted intuition coupled with the introverted feeling makes them the best mimickers, you know, the best in mimicry. And so these covert empath males are mimicking narcissists, you know, and almost making it seem like they are narcissists, you know, because that's what they've been trained to do, to mimic narcissists. So with, you know, it being conveyed to them that narcissism is synonymous with normalcy and success. The narcissist majority population of sensor thinkers and sensor feelers conveys that message to them, so they mimic narcissists. And so we have to see INFP and ENFP types as the best when it comes to mimicry, you know, and it's kind of sad watching Jimmy do this video, you know, if he really doesn't know that he's not a narcissist and he's an empath, you know, and here I am trying to clarify that for him. But even if it does click that what I'm saying to him is true, he would probably still keep up the image, the cover image that he's a narcissist or identifying with narcissist rather than identify with an empath, just like ENFP Lee Hammock. ENFP Lee Hammock has responded to me telling him that he's an empath, not a narcissist, and that he's misdiagnosed, etc. And he just laughs it off in the style and mocks it like in the style of a covert narcissist, just making light of everything, just like, ha ha ha, you know, who cares, blah, 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 you know, moving on with my life of lies, you know, that I've, you know, with my covert orientation, I'm just so used to living a life of lies that, you know, the truth doesn't, you know, the truth doesn't make a big difference in my life, you know, as far as covert personalities go. You know, I'm not talking about me personally, but I'm just talking about how covert personalities think. Like, the truth, you know, that's not the most important thing to them. What's important to them is the cover image, you know, and keeping the cover image up. So altruistic narcissism is a totally bogus term and concept, and it's part of this whole narcissist agenda to blur the lines between empaths and narcissists. But the description he's describing fits the covert narcissist, the feminine, vulnerable kind of narcissist we find in sensor feeler personalities. So Jimmy, you're a born empath as an INFP personality, and male empaths are covert empaths. Covert empaths, and it's because of their gender dysphoria that they're covert empaths, okay? To be empathic is to be feminine, okay? So if you're a female and you're born an empath, you know, there's no gender dysphoria there. It fits, you know? So you can be overt and you can be authentically yourself. But if you're born as a male empath, you feel gender dysphoria. You're in a male body, but you have a very feminine brain. So there's gender dysphoria there. And that makes their orientation covert. It makes their orientation to, you know, try to hide the fact that they're kind of female brains, you know, and try to masculinize themselves to identify with masculinity and stuff like that. And so that's why they mimic narcissists. But because they're so feminine in their orientation as empaths, when they mimic narcissists, they most often end up mimicking the feminine, vulnerable kind of narcissist, the feeler narcissist. So, so the reason male empaths are covert is because of their gender dysphoria. And that's why female empaths are not covert, they're overt, is because of the lack of gender dysphoria. So covert empaths males turn into covert borderlines, and covert borderlines end up being trained to be narcissist wannabes in a culture that teaches them narcissism is synonymous with normalcy and success. Since the male empath's orientation is always to be covert, and empaths are all feminine regardless of gender, when covert empath men mimic narcissists, they mimic the covert narcissist. Empaths and narcissists are mutually exclusive, but empaths, especially male empaths who are covert, feel peer pressure to mimic narcissists. So be relieved, Jimmy, you can never truly be a narcissist as a born empath, but your covert wiring that, you know, occurred due to the gender dysphoria naturally makes you mimic narcissists, like a covert narcissist wannabe. So that's your problem as an empath male, is covert borderline INFP personality, is being a covert narcissist wannabe. Borderline is mama bear disorder, wanting to take care of everyone and out virtue everyone and feeling worthless if you're not being a helper and blah, blah, blah. Borderline is also a term invented by narcissists to make empaths look bad and make empaths seem as bad as narcissists, to let narcissists project badness on empaths. So it's fine for you as an empath to not want to identify as a borderline, but it's not okay for you as an empath to identify as a narcissist, you know, falsely. Figuring out your MBTI type and whether or not you're neurodivergent is one step in the right direction of accurately determining which personality disorders you are prone to and precluded from. Intuitive empaths can never be covert narcissists. Only non-intuitive, non-neurodivergent sensor feeler types can be covert narcissists. As a neurodivergent, intuitive empath INFP personality, it's impossible for you to be a covert narcissist. But as an empath male, you have been trained to mimic covert narcissists as a wannabe covert narcissist. You've been told to identify with being an empath is to identify with weakness and prey. And since narcissism is common in the common majority of personality types, you're conforming to the narcissist narratives like everybody is a little narcissistic, even empaths, which is a narrative that serves narcissists, and that empaths should be distinguishing themselves from narcissists, not perpetuating this narrative that serves narcissists, that everyone, including empaths, is a little narcissistic or is a narcissist. Here's a list of all the types and the disorders that they're prone to, okay? And I'm going to say this in two ways, because like I said, just determining whether a type is more overt or covert in orientation without even talking about borderline and narcissism, that can tell you a lot about how authentic they're being and how not authentic they're being, okay? So first I'm going to say that the types prone to overt narcissism are all of the sensor thinking types and also the intuitive TJ types. So overt narcissist types are ISTJ, ESTJ, ISTP, ESTP, INTJ, ENTJ. Covert narcissist types are the sensor feeler personalities, ISFJ, ESFJ, ISFP, ESFP. Overt borderline types are the empath females, and covert borderline types are the empath males. So overt borderline types are INFP, ENFP, INFJ, ENFJ, INTP, ENTP females. Covert borderline types are INFP, ENFP, INFJ, ENFJ, INTP, ENTP males. Okay, and now let's just delete the words narcissism and borderline from that right there. And just list what types are overt, either in narcissism or borderline, or which types are covert. And the list of the coverts are going to be less themselves, less authentic. So, overt ISTJs, ESTJs, ISTPs, ESTPs, INTJs, and ENTJs are overt. Regardless of their gender. Covert, ISFJ, ESFJ, ISFP, ESFP are covert, regardless of gender. And then INFP, ENFP, INFJ, ENFJ, INTP, ENTP are overt if female and covert if male. And so if covert is associated with you based on your type and your gender, then that tells a lot about, if you are truly what you are presenting yourself to be on the surface, or if actually you're the opposite of what you're presenting yourself to be on the surface. And right now, INFP Jimmy, as a covert empath, is presenting himself on the surface like as a narcissist, when the truth is actually the opposite. The truth is that he's an empath who's precluded from being a narcissist, who's just mimicking narcissists as a covert narcissist wannabe, because the majority population of narcissists trained him to do that, to appear like he's normal and successful, according to the definition of the common majority narcissist. So even though this is kind of a side project, the big project I'm working on right now is an intersection of personality type and personality disorder for INTPs, which will cover Mayim Bialik and Elon Musk. That's going to be like almost a 3-hour epic long video that's going to tear it all apart. But this is very related. Everything that I'm saying about INFPs and ENFPs, especially the males and the covert empaths and covert borderlines that end up being wannabe covert narcissists, is all going to apply to INTP Elon in my INTP intersection video as well. So, and it applies to all male empaths. So I think this is really interesting example to make of covert empath males. And so here he is, I don't have to convince you very hard. I mean, if you've dated empath males, or even if you haven't, when we're watching these empath gurus, psychology gurus, and cluster B personality disorder gurus, I don't really have to convince you too much, because whatever they're saying is convincing you, I don't have to try to convince you that empath males engage in narcissistic abuse so much that they might even convince themselves or others that they are narcissists, when it's impossible for them to be narcissists. These empath males are showing you that and admitting it, even though they're not admitting that they're empaths mimicking narcissists, but they're admitting that they engage in narcissistic abuse, and they're thinking that they're narcissists, or they're trying to convince people are narcissists, but they're not actually narcissists. So I don't have to convince you that these empath men are engaging in narcissistic abuse, because they're telling you that they're engaging in narcissistic abuse, so much so that they're identifying with the label of narcissist, even when they're not narcissists. So you have to watch out for empath men. They will narcissistically abuse you better than narcissists, and more convincingly, because they actually have empathy. But they're not narcissists. They're narcissist wannabes. They've been trained to be narcissist wannabes by a narcissist majority culture. So INFP Jimmy Knowles is not a narcissist. He is an empath, INFP personality, precluded from being a narcissist, and he mimics narcissists, mimics the covert, vulnerable, feminine type of narcissist. And that's what this whole video about, oh, I guess I'm an altruistic narcissist. And if a covert narcissist was going to come out as a narcissist, they would do it in a vulnerable, sympathetic type way, like, oh, feel sorry for me, or in a way to just make light of it and make a joke of it, like when Taylor Swift came out as a covert narcissist and a confession in her anti-hero song, she makes a big joke out of it, and he's also making a big joke out of it, but he also makes some vulnerable thing about it, some vulnerable poor thing about it. And that's what Taylor Swift did in her anti-hero video too. It was like, poor me, I feel like all the pressure to be perfect and and conform and be perfectly skinny and blah, 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 And so he's very much mimicking the covert narcissist, the vulnerable narcissist, but he's not. So just keep the word mimicry present for all the intuitive empath males, but especially the INFPs and the ENFPs, which are like Robin Williams, you know, they can mimic anybody and everybody very well, you know.